Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Records and Rants. Today we're going to be talking about an interesting topic, one that I am, for once in this entire show's lifetime, that I actually know something about. It's going to be the Dave Matthews Band and their new single release. But before we even get into that, I have to introduce the co-host of the show, Dixon. How are you?
Hi, it's great to be back with another edition. And you kind of are the in-house expert on DMB for all these years.
I know it's the one single thing that I've all those years, countless years of listening to Dave Matthews. I could finally bring a little tinge of knowledge to the table.
And he's kind of the one that got you into playing guitar and stuff, right? Would you say that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the only problem is, like, you listen to Dave Matthews is just a weird, very strange entity. I mean, you listen to some of his songs and just the way that he plays the guitar, it's just not normal in some aspects.
Yeah, I can see that.
A lot of jumping around, like even Ants Marching. You listen to that, it's like dun 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 dun. That's just a weird, kind of difficult rhythm to play, especially if you're just starting. But anyway, yeah, he did get me into that.
Well, that's cool. That's like, yeah, I know he has it really high up on his chest, and he has.
Yeah,
looks like he favors the upper end of the fretboard. It seems like, from what I can tell.
He really does. But I'm not dissing him at all. I mean, honestly, he's one of my favorite artists, probably of all time. But yeah, we're definitely going to get into him. But I guess first we want to talk about what we always talk about every single episode is the new comments that we got between our last and the most recent one. So I have to say, on the on the Smiths episode, we said, "Are the Smiths the greatest band of all time?" And Omega FD said this title is very correct. And it seems like that's the that's the kind of general consensus. A lot of people who are fans of the Smiths, they also think that the Smiths are one of the greatest bands of all time. Which, I mean, with my limited knowledge of all the bands of this era, I would say I still think they're fantastic. You know, my opinion hasn't shifted from that episode. Yeah,
pretty spot on.
Yeah, no, I think so. But then we got a lot. I don't know what's going on with our Rolling Stones episode. Oh yeah, the Smiths are the ultimate. But then we got a lot of comments on a Rolling Stones top 200 singers list, and I don't know what's going on with this episode. I think sometimes YouTube does this thing where it's like you have a video out and it gets views here and there, and then suddenly they just pump it. I still haven't found out, but yeah, we got a lot of comments on there. But Dixon, you found one that you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this one of our friends of the show, listener Frank Ingenito.
Yep.
So he wrote a comment. He said, "My favorite singers are always women, so here are my complaints. I would have included Ann Wilson. So Ann Wilson was the front woman of the band Heart, and I guess they were the first band to be fronted by all women. So there is something to be said for that.
Oh, sure.
You know, I think that's valid as an artist standpoint, 100%. And Heart's always been good. Pat Benatar, who she has that song "Heartbreaker," "Shoemaker," whatever.
Whatever. Big fan of her.
She definitely has a good voice. That's definitely valid too. This is a weird one, Melanie Sofka, and I had to look it up. Melanie Sofka just goes by Melanie, and she had the song "I've Got a Brand New Pair of Roller Skates, You've Got a Brand New Key" from like the 60s kind of Woodstock era.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me how, but I know what that song is. Yes.
I think she was kind of like a one-hit wonder, maybe not.
That could make sense.
But definitely, I don't know about her catalog, but he makes a really good point in terms of her voice, because she definitely has like a range of falsetto on the high end. Just in that one song, she kind of goes through couple different changes.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's worthy of being included on that, but definitely a good candidate. Joan Osborne, who what if God was one of us?
Oh yeah,
90s one-hit wonder. Whatever, definitely decent. Here's where it kind of throws me for a loop. is Beth Hart, and I had to look that up as well. So Beth Hart, she is in a band, or she was actually a solo artist, but she was late 90s.
Okay.
And she has a song, LA song from her second album, Screaming for My Supper. Can't say I know a whole lot about that, but it threw me for a loop, so I had to look her up. And then the other one, Taylor Momsen. So she was Cindy Lou Who in The Grinch, the live
No,
action version of The Grinch.
no way! Come on, is this a joke?
I guess.
What?
I guess these are all I had to look up.
Oh my god, that's amazing! Thank you for this research, by the way. This is this is great.
Taylor Momsen was in the live action version of The Grinch, and I guess she's had a music career, sort of a hard rock punk esque musician. She's a song she's written. She's kind of in that genre of music. And I think she was on a couple TV shows and stuff. But yeah, so that kind of threw me for a loop as well.
that one, yeah, I wouldn't expect that, but that's kind of interesting. I wonder if it's one of those things where it's like, well, I'm an actress, but also like I do all these other things. Like I go on plays, I do music. You know, I don't want to say it's like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, but
yes,
you know,
right.
I think a lot of actors and actresses do that.
Yeah, one of those kind of doesn't know what's kind of what direction she's in, so she does it all.
Yeah,
and if she's talented, all those things, great. I will say when I was a kid watching The Grinch, I used to fast forward through her singing portion.
Oh, good.
I just thought it was so not that it wasn't technically proficient for her age, but I just thought it was so boring.
Yeah. No, I agree. I actually did like that movie too, but I'd have to agree with you on that one.
And then Rebecca Lavelle, she's in a band called Larkin Poe. Never heard of them, but they're pretty good.
Nice.
A little bit of an edge, but kind of a folk band deal. And then Clara Soderberg, I didn't know who she was, but I knew this band, First Aid Kit. I think they're Swedish. First Aid Kit has a really like an early Americana, like folk vibe, 60s folk, sort of a neo country, alternative country vibe to them, and they're actually really good. I didn't know that crew. I didn't know her name, but they definitely something to consider there. Once again, I don't know about the depth of their catalog, but he makes some solid points when it comes to this stuff. And as well, he mentions Linda Ronstadt, and Linda Ronstadt is pretty good. She probably deserves to be on that list because she's got some range from what I can tell from what I've listened to and heard from her. So yeah, definitely a comprehensive comment. And then he makes a really good point. He says that Stevie Nicks should be much higher.
Yes.
And his biggest complaint is Kelly Clarkson at number 194. Now, we mentioned this, and we were kind of like, we weren't kind of sure about her placement, right? We were kind of saying,
yeah,
that was kind of
back
too high.
Yeah. We were saying too high. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but you know, maybe we were off base. I don't know. Frank might be right here. He's know,
right. Yeah, and he says he makes a good case for it. He says Kelly can outsing just about everyone on this list. Has plenty of hit records, has influenced many singers, and has a talk show where she has performed about 600 cover songs in a multitude of genres. Anyway, that's my Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
So there you go. So
you know what? Case. When he does that, he makes a great case. So first of all, I have to say, Frank, I appreciate you criticizing what we say without just saying Kelly Clarkson should be on there and you guys are idiots. But yes. I mean, like, he makes a good point. I don't know how we overlook that, I guess. I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my mind was elsewhere when we were just going over the beginning ones. I think I was stuck on that Billie Eilish position, honestly.
That was really a tough one to get over. And I think because it's maybe one of those things that's like you if you're looking at, quote, the greatest, it's like somebody that you've literally have seen their career from the beginning, from like American Idol when it was still popular, to like now. She's like, oh, she's always kind of been around. She's been on the radio. She has this talk show I've never seen an episode of, but like she's been around. Like it's hard to think of her as like, oh, where could she be if we were going to consider her as far as a singer, you know? But yeah, Frank's got a good perspective, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think he definitely made a lot of good points. We had some other comments on there from Chris Gross. He said Paul McCartney and Beyonce need to switch spots. I would definitely agree with that. And he said, this one's funny. There's no God-given world. There's no God-given world. Oh, he mistyped here. But anyway, there's no God-given world in which Taylor has a better voice than Janis Joplin or Karen Carpenter. I think we would totally agree with that, right? I mean, I have to agree with that. We were confused as to why she was up so high in the first place, Taylor. I mean, yes, I don't know. That's
Yes, that's definitely a spot on take. I think that when you consider Taylor Swift among artists, it's only 2 artists out of 200, Janis Joplin and Kara Carpenter. That's a huge statement that Taylor is either too high, or is she worthy of a singer, as being a singer, not an artist, but just a singer, right?
Yeah, and I think, Dixon, I think it's really important that you make that distinction.
Yeah.
I think artist, yeah, go for it, but singer, sure. I don't know. I don't think it should be up there.
Right.
We also have David Bettatini.
Okay.
Or Bettoni. All the way from Italy. So, shout out to our Italian fans. This is kind of funny because he actually tagged Rolling Stone in our video.
Oh no.
He said, put a bunch of monkey faces, and then he says, Celine Dion, question mark, at Rolling Stone, shame, change your job. And then he puts from Italy at the end, which I thought was kind of funny.
Awesome.
That was great. Well, one more here before we move on. I don't know if you saw this one, but he's talking some shade on your boy, which I don't know if I don't agree with. Lone Wolf 8384. I've never gotten Bob Dylan. His voice has always sounded like two cats having a quote unquote romantic experience to me. But to each their own, I suppose. And you know what? I'm glad he put that at the end, because I think at the end of the day, this is a kind of a subjective thing. But
yes,
I could understand why people feel that way about Bob Dylan. But I still, and I'm sure you feel the same way, I'm still firm about him being on the list to begin with.
Right, absolutely, definitely. As a singer, as a voice, the things he's accomplished, regardless of technical proficiency, I think are important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely right. He's true.
Yeah. I just think you made the case on that episode, like pretty eloquently, for why Bob Dylan should be on there. But yes. I'd have to agree with you. But yeah, so that's all the comments. Again, thanks for everyone for in the last week giving us some love. Really appreciate it. And how about you hit the subscribe button if you're still with us? We'd really appreciate it. We're growing every single day. We're evolving, as Dixon said famously in the first episode. We're always in a what was it? We're always in a state of evolving.
It was a quote from Bob Dylan.
Look at it.
The artist is constantly in the state of becoming.
I'm sorry. Yes, constantly in a state of becoming.
Yes.
That there is no better person to say that than Bob Dylan. 100%.
Absolutely, 100%. Hate stagnation, and so do we. So smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and a lot of the things we talk about we link back to from our older episodes. So if you want to check it out. We have a pretty cool catalog.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that, and I guess we'll get on to today's topic.
I'm so excited.
Now, this is again something that I am familiar with. So Dave Matthews Band, on January 24th of 2023, released a new single, and this is going to be off their new album Walk Around the Moon, which is going to be released May 19th, 2023. But anyway, the single from that album that they had just released is called Madman's Eyes. And just if I could talk about this really quick before, because I'm really curious about what you have to say about this, Dixon, because you're probably probably don't like Dave Matthews as much as I do, but there is a lot of stuff that I have to say about this. But I think on the face of it, I could say that this continues on to, I guess, what I would consider the modern Dave Matthews. I think as soon as they invited Tim Reynolds to tour with them and be on the band, so ever since Big Whiskey and the Gru Rex King in 2009, I think they have that more rock kind of centric sound. And I don't know if you got that from this, but
definitely, yes.
Yeah, so like when you go back and you listen to like Crash, the album Crash, or like Under the Table and Dreaming, that is like original Dave Matthews, and you have the horns. It's very more light, I would say. I think this continues on the more heavy tone, I guess, from Dave. And the last album, Come Tomorrow, you have some songs in there that kind of harken back to the original Dave, but I think overall what you're seeing now is a more rock driven focus. Not saying it's exclusively rock, but I think it's just kind of like a more, a driving beat, I guess you could say.
Right. Now, sorry, not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Tim Reynolds is in the band full time.
Yeah, so Tim Reynolds joined. I think he started touring in 2008, and previously,
Oh, wow, okay.
but yes, and previously before that, it was just Dave and Tim. So Dave and Tim would go
Right.
around and do acoustic tours. They've had some big hits, but now the thing is that when Tim plays with the band, he is exclusively electric guitar. So I think as soon as you bring that electric guitar in there, it's kind of like when Bob Dylan started playing electric.
Yeah,
It changes the whole entire vibe of it. Overall, I enjoyed this song, but at the same time, there's things that I don't like about it, and it's kind of the well. I'm gonna cut off right there before I say anything because Dixon, I really want to hear what you think about the song before I say anything.
This is really smart. I feel like a lot of pressure on him. So yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I've listened to Dave Matthews. You exposed me to some Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
Like over the last 10 years, I was into Dave Matthews, Crash era Dave Matthews, everyday era Dave Matthews, and I just stopped listening to him for whatever reason. But not after not hearing like a bulk of his catalog, and then picking up like with this song, you're absolutely right. It seems like a totally different Dave.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's yeah.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I would say just like you said, it's definitely a rock edge, kind of like a dark vibe.
Yes.
You said, like you said, driving sound, and he has like this Middle Eastern thing happening in the beginning, like this
Yeah.
this international kind of thing that like. It was kind of weird because you didn't know where the song was going to go from there, and then it kind of went in a couple different directions. And I there's the first thing I thought is I don't like this song because I had a hard time hearing his words
Yeah.
over the music. Okay, it's so like in your face compared to how Dave Matthews is.
Yeah.
I thought anyway,
Yeah, it's not to cut you off, but yeah, I just want. It's like a very big kind of sound.
It's big. Yes, it is.
It almost sounded like. I hate to say this. It almost sounded like kind of like a weird mastering issue. Like they didn't bring up his voice enough.
Gotcha.
That's what it seemed to me because Dave is hard to understand to begin with. He kind of kind of drawls out his lyrics and everything. Other songs he's more concise, but in this he really drawls it out. But it just sounded like it just wasn't loud enough. I don't know if that's that's because the music was too loud. But yeah, anyway.
Yes, and I had to look up the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
It's and I'm looking at these lyrics and it's like before when I listened to Dave Matthews, like his songs had a like a cohesive message from the stuff I've heard.
Yeah.
And like the song we always point to is because I remember you played it for me. It was "Lie in Our Graves."
Oh, I love that song.
I think I was going through a breakup, and you were brokenhearted, and we're like listening to that song. It's like, wow, what could have been, all this kind of stuff. So I'm listening to the lyrics, and I can't wrap my head around like the lyrics for sure. I can't wrap my head around like there's violence, there's screaming and war, and he's afraid, and he's calling out for his mother. I have a hard time wrapping my head around the lyrics. Obviously, there's a message there. It's probably, I don't know, about peace and love, something like that. But I had a hard time wrapping my mind around the lyrics. Overall, I feel like when I listened to this song, it felt like I was like frozen in time, like 1998, and I had heard like Dave Matthews, and then say like I was like unfrozen or in a coma or something, and I got up and they're like, "Hey, Dave Matthews has a new single." And I'm like, oh, cool. I love Dave Matthews. Yeah. And then I put this on. It's like, are you sure this is Dave Matthews? That's how it felt for me, like listening to it. Like I had missed years of evolution of Dave Matthews, and I just jumping back in the catalog. It might be a tough listen for like somebody like, I don't know, a casual fan, which I don't think he has a whole lot of casual fans. I think everybody's really dedicated to Dave. But interesting to see what the consensus will be from the hardcore Dave fans. So overall, I think a decent song, but not what I think of when I think of Dave Matthews.
So I actually have a different kind of view on the lyrics. Well, and first of all, you were talking about that kind of like international, like Arabian kind of sound that was going on.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that he did that on The Last Stop, which came out years and years ago, and it's not really a well-known song, but I mean, I love it. It's a very interesting song, and it kind of has almost kind of the same message, because The Last Stop is talking about is war the only way to peace, but the people that do this, they say they're so righteous and all this stuff, and there's even some there's even some alluding to Jesus in there, like people saying that they're doing the right thing, but they're nailing him to a cross. Oh, there's a lot of weird things in there. But in this song, Madman's Eyes, the way that I interpreted it was that, he says, little Billy's got a gun and he's having fun. But then it goes into this, with the screaming, I can't hear what you're saying. It kind of, this song, and I think Dave has gotten more towards like really just coming out and like saying what he believes. I feel like he's always on that, but he's like really coming strong forward. I think this is a song, honestly, about gun control.
I was wondering that,
because
I was really wondering that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, right? It's to me, it's kind of like when he says, "Pray to God and hope He's listening." Then a man with a gun brings the demons in. We live as if our hands are tied. Is it really so hard to know what we do is right? So, I think he's saying we got to get rid of the guns. The guns bring the demons in, and that's that.
Yes, definitely.
Now, Dave has done, I guess, kind of this, like speaking about what he believes in politically, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Coming forward with saying that. I mean, there's the song from the Guru Rex King, probably one of my favorite songs that he's come out with. It's Funny the Way It Is. It's a more, rock driven song, but it's about like how kids are starving and stuff, and like one person may have it good, but they complain about it, but another person is literally starving across the world, and it's funny the way it is how it works out like that.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. No, it's honestly a really good song. Funny.
Yeah.
Funny thing is that's what got my brother into Dave Matthews, which is very bizarre. I never thought he would like Dave Matthews, but you ever hear that song "Funny the Way It Is"? He just blasts it like constantly. It's pretty funny, but
that's funny.
But I feel like in the way that song is very forward about its message, I feel like this song is kind of forward with its message too. But I don't know if I really like that. Not saying if I agree or disagree with the message, but I don't know if I like that kind of Dave Matthews. I feel like the pure I hate to be like this. I hate to be this kind of guy, but the purest like Dave Matthews is a song about like just where he like loves a girl and he like semi creepy about it, like he's watching the sweat drop down her back and stuff like that, or like
I understand,
telling a girl to hike up his skirt, like just weird kind of stuff like that. But he's talking about like being madly in love with a girl, and I feel like
he's so consumed, and it translates into his lyrics. Yeah, he's telling a story, painting a picture. Right, I got you
exactly, and I love that stuff. But also the ones where it's like, we have to live life, or like we're looking back on something, and boy, those days were so great. I mean, there's so many songs like that. But I think when it comes to this, I think Dave has a way of writing lyrics which make you think. But I think in this, it's kind of just like, well, I don't like guns. We got to get rid of them, and that's pretty much it. It's it's a forward song. Yeah, sorry, what were we gonna say?
You're right. No, and I thought about that idea. I'm like, oh, is this about gun control? But then, as you kind of broke it down, and you really pointed that out, you have the title "Madman's Eyes," like you said. Is it really so hard to do what we know is right? And that's really kind of interesting. And it seems like I don't know if obviously there's been those discussions for decades, forever about gun control. Is Dave Matthews a little too late to the party on this one? Because it feels like everybody's already made a statement about gun control. I know Pearl Jam had their stuff and everybody else. And he's just kind of like, oh, wow, dude, this sucks. We should write a song about it.
It's like, well, I mean, we're kind of climbing. I think how many mass shootings do we have so far? It's like 12 or something like that. But like the year,
last couple of weeks.
Yeah, just in this year alone. But anyway, I think you're probably right. I think I wonder if he's ever had. I'd have to go back and look to see if he's ever talked about gun control before. I'm sure he has, like, personally discussed it, but never brought it to the forefront in his music. I mean,
oh,
go ahead.
He's had some changes in his band, right? Like maybe in the last like several years. Did a member of his band die?
Leroy Moore actually passed away in 2008, which was right before the Gru Grux King, which is the album that they named after him. Okay. Then Jeff Coffin stepped in his place, and they've had some other people since then too. But so he stepped in his place. But then there was also the incident with Boyd Tinsley, which is kind of disturbing. he was training. Boyd Tinsley is the violinist for Dave
Right.
Matthews.
I remember that.
Always has been. From
Yes.
1992 to 20, I believe it was 2018. Yeah, it was 2018. So, but he had a like a virtuoso that he was training and bringing up,
Uh-huh.
and this guy was, I guess astrally assaulted by Boyd.
Really?
Or that
Oh
he
my
he
gosh.
was convincing him to be with him. I don't know if any assault actually took place, but I know Boyd was like flirting with this kid, and it was prior to the time when he was 18, which is
Oh wow. Okay.
kind of disturbing. So after that, they just said, he's out of the band, which is
Wow, I had no idea it even happened. That's like a major blow to Dave Matthews, to the Dave Matthews band.
I
like,
know
like they,
no, it's
he's synonymous with Dave Matthews. He always had the violinist. Even
he
I knew that.
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he rocked out on the violin. He was a fantastic violinist. And
Yeah.
I mean, he made some of the songs like
Right.
they were great. I mean, it really was a shame to see him go, but I don't know. That was which is interesting too, is the fact that I don't know if this is him, like, because he was kind of coming out of the closet with this, because he's still married to this woman,
Okay.
Emily Tinsley. I'm not entirely sure if they divorced. I should have looked this up, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, yeah.
Interesting stuff. Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
wild. So he's had some evolution, and like you said, I was surprised to hear that Tim Reynolds is now a full time. I guess I missed the boat, but he's a full time member of the band now. So you said that definitely will kind of change things and how they sound. And this is their first album since what, 2018, I guess. Is that what I was reading?
Yeah, 2018 was their last album, and that was Come Tomorrow, which I thought that was a good album, but again, it's more of kind of the rock driven
Gotcha.
Dave Matthews. I mean, again, you still have some of the things that lean back towards Crash and things like that, but
Right.
it's I think ever since they brought on Tim, and people could hate this or they could love it, they could be indifferent about it, but I think ever since you bring Tim, once you introduce the electric guitar in all your songs, it kind of changes the whole path forward. But honestly, though, I think Tim is a great addition. I think he really jams out when they're live, and they still put on great live performances regardless of who they have in the band.
Right.
I haven't seen one in a while, but it's always a good time. Unfortunately, I haven't listened to Dave Matthews recently. Honestly, probably since his last release of Come Tomorrow.
Gotcha. Okay.
I used to know all the live tracks. I mean, he's released dozens and dozens of live albums that I used to be able to just pick them out. I used to be able to hear the first few notes of a song and be able to pick out. Oh, that's DMB Live, the Bayou, Washington D.C. 992. Yeah, the Bayou. You love that one. You hate that song. Oh,
that was great.
So good definitely. Though. But yeah, no, I think we're in a time where the Dave Matthews Band is evolving. I mean, they're super successful live. They still will be. They have such a huge catalog to pull it's from. Massive. I mean, whenever you go to a Dave Matthews Band concert, you could be sure that you're going to get the new stuff and the old stuff. And I think that's what I really like. They never really shy away. It's always like an even mix of what they're going to play, which is cool. Yeah, what I really like. And they're able to bring in Tim into those older songs that they've had, which is really cool.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah,
that is kind of cool. Yeah, I might have to revisit this catalog, or actually, visit the bulk of it, because, like you said, it's massive. They have so much stuff. They've released so much, and so it'll be interesting to see the different changes. And like I said, early '90s, that album. What's that name of that album with the like the merry-go-round on the cover of it? I think that was like from '94.
Oh, that's under the Table and Dreaming. That was
that their first album?
Yeah, that's their first. Yeah, that's their first one. I mean, there's some fantastic songs in there. I mean, Satellite, that was
that's a great album,
a hit song. Warehouse, absolutely love that song. And I mean, there's so many good songs on there that they have.
That's a good album. It really is.
Yeah, and. Now, looking at this, it looks like they hit platinum, like triple platinum, quad platinum. But in the later years, the last award they got was Away from the World, which is in 2012, and they only hit gold. And then Come Tomorrow, it looks like it hasn't hit anything.
Jeez,
which is kind of interesting. Now that I think about it, I'm I did not know that.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, because like I said, I haven't really after the like the early stuff, I haven't really paid attention to them. But yeah, it's interesting,
Yeah, no,
to hear that.
and again, I mean that could be that Dave's fans are dying off, or it's just the fact that he's changed. I mean, no, I'm just saying he's been around so long. I hate this. I'm not trying to sound dark or anything.
I hear you. I hear you. No, definitely. But Dave always had. I think the advantage that Dave had with the early stuff is that he had like crossover appeal because he had the radio and you had like that jam band hacky sack generation in the 90s that appealed to him. But I think like I know several Dave Matthews fans, you included, not so much lately, but like that are just like diehard. Like they'll travel to see him. You see the sticker on the car with the dancing person.
Yep.
It's
the fire dancer. Yep.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see that. That's kind of like kind of a career slump almost, lately.
I know. I wonder if it's difficult to get tickets anymore. I mean, again, I still love his entire discography. I think a lot of people even back in 2001 when they released Every Day, a lot of people said that was too rock oriented, too modern, and they wanted to go back to like past Dave stuff, which was another scandal actually, because they had the Lily White sessions that they were going to release, but then the record label said no, don't release this, release Every Day because it's more modern.
Okay.
They eventually came later and released a lot of the stuff that was on the Lily White sessions in the album Busted stuff.
Okay.
But because I mean there was actually like a petition and everything, and that maybe that was the beginning of the downfall for Dave Matthews when they released Every Day. They said they were getting too modern and all that, but I love Every Day. Every Day is probably one of my favorite albums. So
yeah, it's a good album too. I thought that was a good album too. I
think it's great. The song Every Day is fantastic. I don't know. I guess maybe I just don't see eye to eye with a lot of the Dave Matthews fans out there.
So is this single going to make you run out, get the album, and come May?
I mean,
press download, whatever you do in the preferred media is.
I have to say, unfortunately, regardless, I'm gonna get this album. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to the whole thing. It's one of those things where I have to.
Right.
Not in the fact that I'm forced to. It's just the fact that I just love Dave Matthews, and I always have. So I'm hoping that maybe this will maybe be a return to like maybe we'll see some old kind of stuff like Crash and Ants Marching and things like that. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not one to hate on their new sound. I'm really not. So they can really do whatever they want as long as they bring out good music. I'm gonna listen to it and it's gonna be a jam. I really have to go see him soon again too. But
I never saw Dave.
Really?
No, never saw Dave.
It's okay, I have to say this too. I think if you don't like Dave Matthews, a Dave Matthews Band concert might not be your thing. It's kind of like if I went to the like a Dead concert. I could be like, okay, yeah, this is fun, but at the same time, I don't know any of the songs, and I don't know if I could listen to a jam band for 5 hours. So I don't know.
Gotcha, right? Yeah. No, I hear you. Definitely.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Dave has an acquired taste too.
Oh, like yeah, absolutely. But there's a different, and this is the only band that I've ever listened to where I know every single song. It's when you go to a concert and you know every single song. It's a totally different experience, rather than just getting drunk in the field and like, oh, they played that song. You know what I mean?
yes, absolutely, 100%.
But let me ask you this: are you going to listen to it? I mean, we have to have the album review when it comes out in May. Yes, we have to talk about it. But
we're going to review it.
But if we weren't reviewing it, you could be honest, you probably wouldn't care about this.
I wasn't crazy about. I really wasn't crazy about this song. I have not the message, whatever it is, doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
How he sounds, the edge that he has, just isn't really just appealing to me. And like I said, could it have been like a technical issue that he's just quiet? Like I hate that when you can't. Now, like I said, Dave is hard to understand.
Yeah, for sure.
So like it just kind of like I'm like what the hell is he saying? So I looked up the lyrics. Man. Just like a little too much of it, and I appreciate the edge. I appreciate the rock stuff.
Yeah, I do
but
too.
Like,
yeah.
yeah, I appreciate the harder stuff, but like I don't know, it wasn't. I wasn't impressed by it, and like I said, nothing against Dave or his message or the lyrics. It just was like, oh, okay, I heard it and it was on. Like if it came on the radio, I'd probably change it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I totally understand. I guess the one thing, I guess musically, I should have talked about this, but musically, I think I really enjoy the song. I love, like I said, The Last Stop because it has that kind of, I don't even know what to call it, Arabian, some kind of Middle Eastern kind of, sitar almost thing going on there. I love that.
right.
I thought the horns were great. And one thing that Dave does is what I really enjoy. I don't know why I like this so much, but the song could kind of have a melancholy kind of tone to it, and then like the chorus kicks in, and it's like a jam.
It
And
changes, yeah,
yeah, it totally
yeah,
changes. I don't know if that's like a key change or something, but the tone of the song changes from dreary to happy like immediately. And then
uh huh,
it goes right back to it.
right,
And that's what this song does in the chorus, which I've always loved from Dave Matthews. Does that in a lot of his songs, but I think overall, I think I compared this to The Last Stop in as far as tone and music goes,
right.
and that's probably one of my favorite songs. So I think that's why I really enjoyed this. Again, the lyrics maybe a little too forward for me for a Dave Matthews song, but I don't know if I could even say
Right.
that because I love Funny the Way It Is. So I don't know. It's kind of more of like an average Dave Matthews Band song for me. One thing I will say is that I hope this doesn't turn into an entire album where it's talking about a message kind of thing. And I'm
Yeah,
not
like a
not
preach session. Yes.
yeah, like a preach
Right.
session. I don't
Yeah,
want that. Being a fan
I'm
of
with
Dave
you.
Matthews, I like the love songs. I like the unashamed like addiction to someone kind of aspect of
Right,
Dave.
right. Absolutely.
I, I
100%.
I love that. It's very, to me, it's very raw. It's very emotional, and it's just like it's a lot about love, but not in the kind of tree hugging way. It's just more of I love this woman, or I love this person,
Right.
or I love this time period that we lived through, and like the memories and everything like that. So I'm hoping that it goes towards something like that.
Goes that way. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I hear what you're saying. That's what I like Dave Matthews for that too. Now you can see why that guy yelled Judas at Bob Dylan when
Yeah,
he
yeah,
went
yeah,
when he went
exactly.
when he went
Yeah,
electric in London. It's like, yeah, I guess if you have a guy like that where you have such a loyal fan base that they know the ins and outs of your catalog, to evolve or to change or to detract from that, it's got to be like a hard pill to swallow.
yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree. Now I
yeah.
understand how they felt,
Now
but
you get it.
I hope that Dave Matthews fans listening to this are not crazed and gonna correct me on every single thing that I said. But
Yeah.
I
No,
mean
if you're
that's
a Dave Matthews fan, let us know what you think because this would
yeah,
be interesting
please.
to see. Yeah.
Yeah, please, and correct me on any misspeaks I might have had. Again, I'm not. I wish I was more super familiar with the Boyd Tinsley incident. And I'm honestly not even sure if they're still married, but I know that did happen, and that was a
Jeez.
big blow to the band. But I mean, I
That
think
is
they,
huge.
yeah, I think they moved on from that, and and I mean, this is going to be the next album since that time, and this might
Okay.
be the biggest gap they've ever had in releasing a studio album. So there's also that to think about too. So we'll see.
Yeah,
They
there is.
might have had time to tool around with some sounds or whatever, but we'll see what happens.
Right. No, yeah, definitely interesting. So come May, keep your eyes peeled. We'll have the one of the first reviews right here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be
Yeah,
fantastic. I can't wait. Um, but yeah,
awesome.
that's a Friday too, so we might have to do a Friday
Oh
recording
my
on that one.
goodness.
Yeah.
Live stream on a Friday. What are the
Oh
odds of
wow,
that?
that'd be fantastic. That'd be great. That'd be great. Guys, tune in to the live show May 19th, 2023. You'll hear it all.
You're not. Absolutely.
um, uh, it, we are called Records to Rants, folks, and we do have a rant for today. We actually do, and Dixon talked to me about this BTS. So, Dixon, I'll let you introduce this part of the show here.
Very good. So I think it's like a two-part rant, and this one isn't even really a rant, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Um, so a friend of the show who we've discussed previously, MGK Machine Gun Kelly, and if you want to look back, we have a video where we talk about his evolution from hardcore rapper to alternative artist and sort of almost verging on emo. as well as his relationship to Megan Fox. But I was around the other day. I was home during the day, and I was cleaning, and I put on a TV to have something in the background. And the show Catfish was on MTV. Do you remember this TV show, Catfish?
Oh yeah, I used to love that show.
Yeah, so I used to love it. And I didn't
Yeah, it's
realize
interesting.
it's still on.
Wow.
It's like in its like 13th season, whatever it is.
Holy crap.
Yeah, they're still making it new episodes. But I guess like evidently, I don't know if it was just that day or this month or whatever it is. All day long, it was episodes of Catfish for like 6 hours.
I love it.
So I'm like, oh my god, I haven't seen Catfish in a minute, so I put it on. And this episode came on, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to introduce our co-host today, Machine Gun Kelly."
Oh, no way! Come on.
Yeah. He said, what? Machine Gun Kelly was on an episode of Catfish as a co-host, right? So,
That's bizarre.
It's crazy.
That's
so
bizarre.
it turned. This was still in the era of when Machine Gun Kelly was a hip hop artist, was a rap artist, and this is from season 4. Episode 18. It aired in 2012, and it's funny because this is for what I can tell, because I looked it up then afterwards, because I'm like, are we sure that this was actually MGK and like everything else?
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it's actually, the episode itself is a popular episode. The reason being, a female contacted Catfish. She wanted to meet a girl she was talking to, and the biggest reason she wanted to meet was that she grew up in a conservative culture. She was experimenting with her sexuality, and she was going to come out as a lesbian or bisexual, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out towards the end, it was actually like a setup that there was 3 friends working together to get her on the show, and so they could meet. Like, it was just basically ended up being a fake setup kind of thing.
Oh wow!
Like, it was like this. Yeah, it was just like kind of like, and there really wasn't any reason for it. It was like she just kind of wanted to be on TV. It sounded like.
Huh.
So, well, I thought this is worth mentioning is that throughout the episode, MGK is there, and he's like probably the least interesting man on the face of the planet. And you could tell that Neve, the host, is like kind of like making like faces or like kind of like just dismissing what Machine Gun Kelly is saying. So the one scene, they're driving through a neighborhood, and Neve goes, "Oh, this is a pretty nice neighborhood." And Machine Gun Kelly goes, "Oh man, no, this is the hood, man." And Neve is like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, if there's one thing I know in life, I know where the hood's at."
Oh my god, come on.
Hood, right? So
what's wrong with him?
Yeah, I know. And then the other scene was like he would just sum up what the person said. So the girl would be like, "I'm really in love," and he's like, "It sounds to me like you're really in love and you just want to see what happens." and then the next scene it was, I really want to give this a chance. It's like, so I'm kind of getting that you kind of want to give this a chance, right? Like
just repeating everything. Why would they even bring him on, for God's sake?
How the hell they got him on? I have no idea. And then the other one that was great too is at the end.
Oh my god!
Machine Gun Kelly gets mad because he realizes, and they finally realize, that the one girl kind of confesses that this is all a setup, it was fake or whatever. And Machine Gun Kelly flips out. He's like, "You mean I could have been at home on Father's Day with my daughter?" So so Machine Gun Kelly is chasing down the girl as she's leaving. He's like, "You're a loser. How dare you?" Like, kind of calling her out. And Neve is like, all right, just Mr. Kelly, just relax. You don't have to chase them away.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I thought that was worth mentioning because it was such a random thing that Machine Gun Kelly, as a hip hop artist, was the co-host of an episode of Catfish.
That is
completely random. I just don't get it.
That is bizarre. But you said this was from a while ago.
Yeah, it was 2012. So that was still like I said, in his rap hip hop era of his career. So it seems like he's either gotten more mellow or he's a little bit more hardcore, because as in the episode we discussed how he and Megan drank each other's blood at their wedding ceremony.
Yeah, a little strange there, but yeah. I'm actually looking at pictures of him here too. It kind of looks like he's more toned down in this episode. I mean, he's still got the hair that he's doing and everything.
Yeah, he's got different hair. He's got the tattoos, of course, but he's like, he definitely had more of a, trying to be a tough guy, trying to be
yes,
Mr. Hip Hop it just seemed like it was just an odd moment in
Yeah,
his
well,
life.
that's
I just couldn't
that's
get over it. I had to mention this.
that's so funny. That's fantastic, guys. Yeah, you should really go back and watch our MGK videos. I thought they were a lot of fun when we were talking about him and like where he's at right now, and with Megan and everything. Those were good times.
Yeah, that definitely was. That was early times in the show. So we
Yeah,
once again we've evolved, just like MGK, just
yeah,
like Dave
absolutely.
Matthews. And there's also a another one of the earlier episodes too. We discussed in depth one of your favorite individuals, Alec Baldwin.
Oh yeah, I
So
love that guy.
yeah, so we talked about on the show about Alec Baldwin, how he fired a what was supposed to be a prop gun
Yeah,
and ended up killing somebody on the set of this movie Rust. And turns out he and the armorer, I guess the person that's supposed to outfit you with the safety stuff on the set of the movie, are going to be
yes,
charged with involuntary manslaughter.
yeah. And honestly, Dixon, when I heard this, that was bizarre to me that they're actually going to convict
Right.
a Hollywood, big name actor. I, I
Yeah, for
I thought
sure.
I thought this was crazy. You know what though? I mean, rightfully so. I think that obviously, I mean, he is the one that pulled the trigger. Even though Alec Baldwin says he never pulled the trigger, which is I don't know why you're lying to the FBI about that, which was bizarre that he said
Yeah, it
that.
makes
But
no sense. That makes no
yeah,
sense at all.
it makes
No.
absolutely no sense. I mean, I feel like you have to have some kind of culpability in that situation. So I think this is the right way to go. I obviously not like first degree, uh,
Right.
premeditated murder, but I think this
Right.
is the right way to go about it. I don't know so what do you think about this?
Well, there's an episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza says that manslaughter is the most socially acceptable form of murder because
Oh god, I
it's the
love that
lightest
show.
it's the lightest sentence. But he's like, can you imagine that the slaughter of a man is the most socially acceptable form of murder?
That's
And
so
it's
good.
I know it's a good one. But yeah, I'm surprised, and I saw the video of when they were talking to the cops, I think, on the set, and the director or the assistant director starts breaking down and crying, and Alec Baldwin is just there, like just emotionless. And I guess in that situation, it's hard to judge somebody and their reactions, but it just
Yeah.
seemed like he was just like either out of it or just didn't believe it or didn't care. I don't know. And now there's kind of this social media. They're kind of doing this social media thing. Him and his wife, who in fact isn't Spanish, she's actually American.
Oh boy,
That they
another
that
lie.
yeah, yeah, another one, that they're kind of like appealing like with their kids and everything else through social media, kind of trying to what's the word, kind of either modify or comment on the situation, like basically how could I be arrested or possibly how could I be convicted for involuntary manslaughter when I have this family and everything else. But like you said,
I
really shocking that Alec Baldwin that they actually went forward with it, and I think it all hinged on the interview they did on ABC. I think in 2021, December 2021, when he went on and they thought he was going to clear his name, but it really kind of set him up for this charge, and sounds like they're pretty confident in a conviction as well.
So I think this whole thing comes down to a few things. It's the armor. Well, first of all, out of everything, is who brought the live ammo on the set while they were
Right.
doing this, while they were doing the shooting. Then it's who loaded the gun, who was supposed to check the ammo, who handed the gun to Alec Baldwin. Did the armorer say that it was blanks? And also, did Alec Baldwin, did he have to check
Right.
before he shot the gun? And if that's the case, if those are the rules in place, then yeah, I mean he should be convicted. If he was handed the gun and they totally went over the safety procedures and everyone did everything right, well then I mean it comes into like kind of like a foul play thing. But if there were
Yeah.
lapses in judgment, if the guy just loaded the shit in the gun, wasn't even paying attention where he brought the rounds from, handed it to Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin was supposed to check. He didn't do that, and then he shot the gun. Then yeah, then everyone is at fault here. That's
Wow.
the way that I see it. I think the only
Yeah.
way Alec Baldwin doesn't get out of this is if it was the armorer and maybe the armorer's assistant, because you should probably have two people doing this, right, to have like double checks and safety checks.
I would think so. That makes sense. Yeah, and like you said, it gets kind of funky there. Like, what is the responsibility of Alec Baldwin at that point?
Exactly. I think it all comes down to what is his responsibility. And I mean, I'm not saying that he did this, but it wouldn't surprise me a person like Alec Baldwin would just say, "Yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna shoot it. Whatever. Like, fuck the safety checks.
Right.
You checked it, right? Okay, that's it,
Mr. Hollywood."
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. I don't have time. I shouldn't be checking this stuff. What do you mean? You know who I am? I'm Alec Baldwin.
It's a great Alec Baldwin impression.
Well, I don't even know what Alec Baldwin sounds like.
Neither do I. That sounds fantastic. That's pretty spot on.
I feel like that's what he would sound like. You know, it's funny too. While we were just recording this, he actually has a podcast. So you know, one of our peers, really? But he's still producing content.
Oh wow! Well, I guess he's not that worried.
You know what? He's getting ratioed pretty hard here, though. Yeah, on one of his latest posts, he 77 comments to 19 likes. So
there you go.
I'm probably tearing him apart.
Who's listening to Alec Baldwin's podcast? What can he possibly say? What is he saying?
Seriously, the title's here. It's called "Here's the Thing." Really pretentious. Like I can't stand things that are titled like that. Oh, here's the thing. I'm Alec Baldwin. I'll tell you what you need to know.
Right.
But he's just saying all this stuff. People are just saying all this stuff. Oh, hey, you just got charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Oh my gosh.
You can run, but you can't hide. Oh my God, this poor. Oh,
wow,
aren't you super anti-gun? This is pretty brutal.
Yeah, he's getting hit hard there. Yeah, that's interesting stuff.
Yeah, he really is. But I mean, we'll see what happens to our friend Mr. Alec, ALEC. Yep. Don't even know what kind of name that is, but
Alec. Yeah, so definitely, if you want to explain your side of the story, open invite to Alec.
Yeah, Alec. Yeah, we could come on. Or maybe we'll come on. Here's the thing: we could do a crossover.
Yes.
Looks like not a lot of people are listening anyway. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I said it. Look at these bot accounts following him.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
I mean, for God's sakes, the guy has 30,000 followers on this thing, and he gets 2 interactions. He gets 2 likes per.
Yeah, that's us. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely buying some bots. But anyway, that's the story on Alec Baldwin. We'll see what happens.
Stay tuned for. So we got a lot of things to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, we do.
The trial of Alec Baldwin and Dave Matthews. New Dave Matthews, May 19th. So
yeah, I guess. Yeah. Really
got a lot of things on the radar here.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. But yeah, guys, if you made it to the end, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. Leave us a comment. We'll bring it up in the next show. And again, we'll see you next week. Yeah, and thanks for watching, guys.
Peace.